Welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for hanging with me on this Monday. And if you went out of your way to like, comment, or subscribe, thank you. All right, so a strategy I learned, 10 years ago probably, fishing as a co-angler, was to pick up a worm from the very beginning of the day and don't set it down until you came in. And that was a strategy that I learned from these guys that won a bunch of money as co-anglers, and I've taken this strategy to a bunch of different lakes, fishing as a pro, just going out fun fishing. And if you are around bass, this is a great way to mop up everything that is swimming in your area. So it doesn't matter if you're fishing grass, some type of Texas rig, if you're fishing a highland reservoir, a spotted bass lake, or a largemouth lake, a drop shot, or a shaky head. And if you are in shallow water, a wacky rig, but however you do it, could be a Ned rig, anywhere, however you do it, it is just important to keep a worm locked in your hand the entire day. Now, you're not gambling as much as you are with other baits. And I think if you think about some of the times that you've went out fishing, you came in at the end of the day, you caught one bass. You're probably saying, man, if I wouldn't have tried all those other things that I tried and just fished a worm all day, I would have had a much better day. So you're losing out on big fish opportunities, but you're gaining opportunities on numbers. So if you just want to go out and have fun, catch a bunch of fish, or if it's fishing kind of tough, kind of weird, you're going to have a much better day by just keeping it simple and fishing a worm. So guys have made careers out of this. You look at a guy like Larry Nixon, who's had probably one of the greatest fishing careers as a professional bass fisherman. And I fished with him on the Potomac River, and it was a pretty tough tournament. I think if you could catch 5 bass that weighed 13 pounds, you were doing really well. And we went to our first spot. He made like 15 casts with a chatterbait, picked up a worm, never set it down the rest of the day. And I learned a lot from him. And I kind of was already on that deal. I got to see a lot of these very prosperous co-anglers just pick up a shaky head first thing in the morning. And what you're doing rather is you're getting that morning bite. And just because they're biting a topwater and they're biting moving baits really good first thing in the morning doesn't mean that they're also not biting a worm really well. It's just a feeding period. So whatever's in the water, the fish are going to bite, and you will get as many bites on a worm most of the time as you will on other things. And then throughout the day, when they stop biting the moving baits or the topwater, you're still getting bites. And if you look at the law of averages, where if you get 10 bites on a worm compared to 5 bites on any other bait, you're probably going to have a better day. And the size might not fall off like you think it will. You might be fortunate and catch a 5 or 6 pounder. Big fish bite worms too. So this is a strategy. I think this is something that I still do. If it's in the spawn, it's going to be some type of Senko. If it's, like I said earlier, grass, it's going to be a Texas rig, maybe a 10-inch worm, maybe a speed worm. If you're on a highland reservoir, I really like a Ned rig, shaky head, or drop shot. If there's spotted bass involved, typically it's a drop shot, but I've had really a lot of success on a Nico rig and a shaky head. So you got to play with what worm you're throwing, but they all catch bass. Bass love them. So if you're around the spawn, this is dynamite technique. If you're on a grass fishery, dynamite technique. If you are on a tidal fishery, list goes on and on. Bass level worm, and if you're throwing that worm in the feeding periods and the non-feeding periods, you're going to have a lot of success. So try that, guys. Good luck to you, and I'll see you on the water.